Welcome. I'm Rhonda Bondi, and I'd like to welcome you to Equitable Academic Discussions, where we're going to analyze some directions and think about how we might adjust those directions in the ways that we communicate to students to increase the quality of their responses and equity in their participation. Let's first examine our levers for communicating our directions. I want you to imagine this square taped to the floor where the teacher stands in the box and doesn't move to circulate in the classroom until all students have begun a task independently. This is very similar to what we experience when we're teaching on Zoom. So this works both in person and on Zoom. Let's think about that in-person classroom, and the teacher stands there and adjusts the directions until all students have begun the task independently. Students will begin when tasks are clear, accessible, relevant, and rigorous, or there's some stretch or a reason to reach to get that task done. So let's think about the ways that we communicate, setting the purpose, using concise steps, and using multiple representations to make sure students understand the language and our directions, and the extent to which we're providing information or checking for understanding while we're giving directions. In addition to our communication methods, we can invite students to use help resources to increase the quality of their responses. So for example, if we're noticing in student responses students need more academic language, then we might require them to use words from a concept map to support their thinking about the question that they're answering or discussing in their group. For knowledge, we might ask students to use a fact card. And for thinking, we might have them use a graphic organizer. So help resources can increase the quality of student responses, and we can adjust whether it's an invitation, these are available to you, or an assignment or a requirement. You must use this in your response in our directions. When we're looking for equity, we're looking for how students are engaging in the discussion, and as the teacher, we're disrupting social patterns where certain students will have more cultural capital and social capital in a conversation with their friends. So what we want to do is at times, not all times, but at some times, and certainly during an academic discussion where students are preparing for reading and writing tasks, we want to be sure that all student voices are heard and that all students have equitable opportunities to practice academic language. That doesn't mean they're all practicing for the exact same amount of time, but they have an equitable opportunity to develop their academic language skills that are necessary for reading and writing. So how do we do this? Well, there's 4 levers that you can adjust: roles, rules, turns, and time. And let's look at this discussion routine from one of my math teachers for accountable talk. Notice step 1 is preparation. So see how preparation under time is lit up. Then step 2, she's very clear here. Who's A, who's B? So our roles are clear for listening and speaking. The rules for engagement are clear because she has a sentence stem and she has the purpose, who's sharing, and what you're listening for. They're going to ask a follow-up question. The turns are clear: who's going first, who's going second, and what the reply will be. And there's time for both speaking and listening. Then the teacher is going to control turns by using a random number generator, and finally having a reporter speak out. So the role in that last one is identified. So in this way, you can use our academic discussion sound mixer in your directions to adjust for quality of student responses and equity in participation, as well as adjusting our own communication methods to make sure all students understand our directions. I hope you use your sound mixer in your directions.